här kommer starta tema. Yeah, as you can see, we had a pretty heavy snow blizzard last night. 50 knots of wind and a lot of snow. And yeah, as you can see, we're pretty locked in at the moment here at the farm. The car, a lot of snow here. And as you can see, this is our road, and it will take a while to get this cleared. They tried this morning, but front loader got stuck since the snow is pretty heavy. It's not that cold, so the snow is really heavy and hard to move around. So they had to drag him out with another front loader, and I don't know if he's coming back later on today. Tomorrow it's supposed to be really cold, all the way down to 18 below zero. So I hope we can get this road cleared by then, because if this melts a little bit and then the temp drops again, this will be a real problem getting rid of. So it's a very cold day today. We actually have minus 15, minus 16 at the moment, so quite cold for being down here in the south of Sweden. I know that up north it's really cold at the moment, down to around minus 40 Celsius, pretty crazy. We're still snowed in. We haven't been able to leave the farm now for over 2 days. The road is still closed with all that snow. We're waiting for our neighbor to help us to dig us out. I know that he has a lot on his hand at the moment to clear roads. So, and we're not in a rush. We have plenty of food, and yeah, we're working from home, so it's okay for us to wait. We were very lucky that we did all that lamination work last week when it was a lot milder than it is this week. It's supposed to be this cold now for a few days. So I probably won't do a lot of lamination in the coming days. Instead, I will start the preparations for the last layer that we're going to put on the whole hull. We need to clean the hull first to get rid of any amine blush, and also sand the whole hull. And that will probably take me a few days to do that. And then, of course, we need to finish the bow cone with the 4 layers of biaxial cloth that we need up there. I'm also planning to cut the fiberglass down here along the shear line on both sides. I'm probably going to use a router with a bearing on, so I can run it along the shear line edge on the inside, and just cut along that line all the way around. And once we have that twill weave on the hull, it's time to start the fairing process. And that will be a pretty big project, I reckon. It's a lot of square meters, roughly 100. So it's a big hull to sand with those long board sanders or torture boards, or whatever you want to call them. It's heavy work for your shoulders to sand the hull manually like that. But still, it's really the only way to get the hull fair, because we want to have a fair line all along the length of the hull, so we don't have any dips or dents or anything like that. But before I start with any work, I think it's time to really tidy up in here from last week. The whole barn looks like a mess at the moment. try to keep all the trash separated, plastic, wood, metal, and so on, just to make it easier to leave the trash at the environment station.
There was so much wind from the east, which is not the usual direction of the storms that we get. So the snow has just been going around here in circles and piled up. You see how high it is here. Now we're just trying to dig out the car, removing the snow just around it, and the rest front loader has to take, because there is just too much. Looks like this.
Det var min fel. Jag vill inte, jag är snön. Men jag kan inte fälla.
Guess there will be some digging underneath the car to get the snow out.
Yeah. It's starting to get really hard too on the top.
How many tractors have you been looking at today online?
Quite many. I think maybe not this winter, but it would be nice to have a small tractor for the next winter, so we're not so dependent on others. Because this road we have here, every time there's been snow these last 2 winters, we just had to call for help because it blows over so fast.
This is what it looks like on a road. This is how far they could get, and that's where he got stuck with the tractor. And then the rest looks... Hey Vera. And over there is our farm, which we can't leave with the car. 3rd day now.
But a few hours later, our neighbor came and cleared the road.
Malin. Finally we're free again. I couldn't do the last corner up there because it got so slippery. It's -10 right now out here, so obviously the water freezes pretty quickly. I thought I should have some more time since the water is pretty warm, but obviously that didn't work, so I probably have to put on the heater so I can get that ice off the hull now and wipe the rest of the hull off. Yeah, yesterday really didn't go according to plan to clean that hull with all that ice forming up on top. So today I'm going to use the diesel heater to heat up the barn just a little bit. So I've rough cutted the shear line on the other side now, and I'm using a jigsaw blade that normally would be used for carbon fiber. It's a tungsten carbide blade, but it works really well for this as well. And like I said, this is just a rough cut, and afterwards I will use a router with a ball bearing that will ride against the cedar on the inside. So we'll get a flush line from the wood out to the fiberglass. Yeah, so this is just a way to remove some of the bulk before I start using the router. Will be less dust that way. Yeah, you might wonder why I'm cutting this now, since we're going to have the twill weave on here as well. But I'm thinking that I'm going to try at least to get the twill weave over the edge and saturate it against the underside of this edge here as well. But I still haven't decided, but I want to have that option and try it. So that's why I want to remove this first. So I've just finished sweeping the floors and using the vacuum cleaner to get all that dust up from yesterday's work, cutting that shear line. I think it turned out really good. It's nice to see that line again. And the plan for today is to start sanding the hull. And since we're going to do so much sanding now in the coming days, weeks, and maybe months, I have installed or brought in a big air filter with a very fine filter. And this machine, it exchanges the air in here many times every hour. And that way the air quality should be improving in here. Of course, we will use vacuum cleaners connected to the sanders and have masks on and everything. But it's always nice to try to get the air quality as good as possible and get the dust levels down. And especially later on when we start using those longboard sanders, because with those we can't connect the vacuum cleaner, or at least not with the models that we're going to use. So then it's nice to have this air filter just to get a better working environment.
Talking about dust and work environment, the barn isn't the best place at the moment to play around, especially not when we've been laminating. So that's why you haven't seen Vera in here for a while.
Yeah, that took quite some time, 10 full hours for just this side of the hull. Pure epoxy like this together with glass is really hard to sand. So now I'll just vacuum the whole side here, try to make it dust free, probably use some tack cloth, and then I will wipe it off with alcohol. And then I'm thinking I will start on this side with the twill weave, so apply it here. It's just nice to have some variation in the work. And we have also decided that this twill weave will only reach a little bit below the waterline level. There's really no use for it on the bottom part of the hull, so that will save us some time and epoxy.
Johan marks where the waterline is on the hull.
So this is the fabric that we're going to use on the top sides, the twill weave, and as you can see it's a very light cloth. I thought it was 150 grams per square meter, but it's actually only 110, so it's a very light fabric. And I think we're going to put it dry onto the hull and then wet it out from the top. I think maybe we'll roll on some epoxy on the hull first. We just have to try and see what's the easiest way to apply this. And I talked about this before. The reason that we want to put this on the top sides is because the fiberglass that we have on the hull now, the biaxial type of fiberglass, it's pretty rough and coarse, and there's a risk from that X shape on that 45 degrees that can print through the paint later on. And by putting this twill weave up on top, that's a way to try to prevent that, to make the surface a bit more smooth. And then of course there will be fairing and everything on top of this. I guess there's still a risk that you can get some print through, but this is what's recommended to put on top to try to prevent it as much as possible. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks a lot for watching, and a big thank you to all of our patrons and everyone else supporting the channel. We hope to see you next Friday, and until then, take care and have a pleasant weekend. Bye bye.